Gentlemen, let's now look at another Soviet weapon. This is the Russian carbine, the SKS. This is the weapon that was replaced by the AK-47, of which we have already seen. This is the Russian semi-automatic SKS, qualifies as a carbine in Soviet Russia. However, the United States government qualifies this as a rifle. This weapon fires the same round that the AK-47 fires, the 7.62 intermediate M43 cartridge. It will hold 10 rounds, and it has two unusual features. First of these being, it has a permanently attached bayonet on a pivoting hinge. Another unusual feature here is it has a non-detachable magazine. To unload this weapon, the magazine will open and swing down through about a 30-degree arc in order to keep from working him through the chamber during unloading. This weapon is another one of the well-made, simply constructed weapons that is typical of the Soviet-type armament after World War II, when they took a little more time in their weapons production. Let's take another closer look at the Russian SKS. At the muzzle end is the folding blade bayonet. To fold this bayonet away, pull forward on this clamp. Rotate it underneath the weapon into its recess. Next is the adjustable front sight. Again, you'll find common to most of your Soviet-type weapons that this front sight is adjustable for windage during zero of the weapon. Next, again common to the Soviet-type weapons, is the gas chamber along the top of the barrel and the handguard. The handguard lock located roughly in the same position as on the AK. Here we have a ramp-type rear sight. This sight is graduated from 100 up to 1,000 meters. However, the maximum effective range of the SKS is 470 meters. Behind this we have a bolt carrier and handle. In front of the bolt carrier is a magazine charger. To load the 10 rounds in this weapon, they come in a 10-round clip. Slide the clip down through the charger and with your thumb push it down into the magazine. Coming on back behind the bolt carrier is the receiver cover and the receiver cover pin located here. We have a wooden stock, and in the metal butt plate you'll notice a cleaning well where a cleaning rod can be carried. Next, we have the safety located right alongside the trigger guard here. When the safety is in the down position, the weapon is on fire. Rotating it up next to the stock, the weapon is on safe. The gunner or rifleman can remove the safety with one finger and fire with almost the same movement. Coming up next, in front of the trigger guard, is the non-detachable 10-round magazine and the magazine catch. To unload the SKS, pull to the rear on this magazine catch, and the magazine will fall through a 30-degree angle from the weapon, and the rounds will come out. To close, simply rotate it back up and snap it into position. And on the left side of the weapon, we have two sling attachments. One near the stock here, and the other one just forward of the gas cylinder. Now let's proceed into the disassembly of the SKS. To clear this SKS carbine, first pull the bolt to the rear. This bolt has an automatic hold open device that will hold the bolt to the rear each time it is pulled to the rear on an empty magazine. To get the bolt forward, simply reach into the receiver here and depress the bolt stop. After pulling the bolt to the rear, inspect the magazine and the chamber to ensure that there is no ammunition present, and place the weapon on safe. Normally, we would leave the bolt in the open position to consider the SKS clear. However, for disassembly purposes, we must allow the bolt to move forward. Push down on the bolt release and allow the bolt to go forward on an empty chamber. Moving to the rear of the receiver cover, we find receiver cover retaining pin. Rotate this pin until it is straight in the air. This pin will not come out unless it is straight up. Push forward on the rear of the receiver cover with your thumb to remove the tension on the pin. Then pull the pin fully out to the right. At this point, remove the receiver cover from the rear. This exposes the recoil spring and recoil spring guide. With two fingers of either hand, pull the recoil spring guide from the rear of the bolt carrier. Next, with one hand, reach up and grasp the bolt carrier handle and pull the bolt and bolt carrier all the way to the rear and continue on up and out of the receiver. This is the bolt carrier, and the bolt was separated. To remove it, simply reach in the receiver and pull it out. Next, we will move forward to just under the rear sight and rotate up on the handguard lock until it is about a 45-degree angle to the rear sight. You'll remember your AK, this was exactly the same way that you remove the handguard on it. Simply grasp the handguard and pull it up from the rear, being careful when you remove it not to allow the piston to fall out and damage itself on the table. You can see the piston exposed now. Allow the piston to come out of the gas cylinder. And gentlemen, this completes the general field stripping of the Russian SKS. Let's now go back and look over these parts as we remove them. The first part removed was the receiver cover. Next, we removed the recoil spring and recoil spring guide. Next, the bolt carrier. Now, direct your attention to the bolt carrier. Here on the front we can see closer the magazine charger that I was talking about before. And finally, we remove the bolt. Coming up forward to the gas system, we remove the gas cylinder and forearm. And inside of this is the gas piston. Gentlemen, we're going to reassemble this weapon in exactly the same order, reverse order, that we disassemble. First, we will marry up the gas piston into the gas cylinder, ensuring that the piston end goes in last. Once you have it inside evenly, start it on the front of the weapon at the gas cylinder bracket. Make sure that the forearm lock is in a 45-degree angle to the rear sight, and simply close the forearm down into its position. Once it is down in position, rotate the forearm lock until it is held in position by its detent. Next, we will marry up the bolt and the bolt carrier. To do this, ensure that the face of the bolt is in the same direction as the magazine charger, and simply hook them together in their recesses. To replace this into the receiver of the weapon, ensure that the magazine charger is in the same direction as the muzzle of the weapon. Insert it down into the receiver from the rear and push it until you meet resistance. This will be the bolt lock stopping the bolt carrier. At this point, simply reach in with a finger and push down on the bolt lock and slide the operating parts fully forward. Next will be the recoil spring and the recoil spring guide. Ensure that the curly end goes in first into the rear of the bolt carrier. Slide it in until you meet resistance and allow it to lay on the rear of the receiver. Prior to replacing the receiver cover, make the following checks. First, ensure that the takedown pin is fully out to the right and straight in the air. Next, ensure that the front projections on the receiver cover go in under the rear of the bolt carrier. And then, the rear of the weapon, ensure that the square portion here slides into its recess in the rear of the receiver. At this point, simply with your thumb, push forward on the receiver cover and drift the takedown pin in and rotate it down until it is locked. Gentlemen, this will complete the general disassembly of the Russian SKS carbine. Further disassembly is seldom necessary during general cleaning.